Namaste, welcome back to the session of basic thermodynamics. I hope in the previous session we have discussed about two of the phase diagrams such as PV diagram and TS diagram. PV is nothing but pressure and specific volume, and TS is nothing but temperature and specific entropy. Phase diagrams on which we have looked on to phase change phenomenon of one of the pure substances which is nothing but the water. So now before moving on to the next phase diagram, we have to know two of the terms. With the help of those two terms, we can easily understand the next phase diagram with which we can look on to the phase change phenomenon of pure substance what we have considered, which is nothing but the water. Those two terms are first one is dryness fraction and the second one is wetness fraction. So now very first thing is we need to understand where this dryness fraction comes into picture and where this wetness fraction comes into picture. We have understood from the previous discussions that on the one of the saturated line, that means I have taken two saturated lines, one is a saturated liquid line and another one is a saturated vapor line. On the saturated liquid line, the quantity of vapor present is 0. In the sense, not even a single particle of the substance is in the form of vapor on this line. That is why it is called as saturated liquid line. In the sense, the liquid is completely saturated on that line on various pressures. Next thing is other line, which is nothing but saturated vapor line. In the sense, on that line, not even a single particle of substance is liquid. That means the entire substance has been converted into vapor. That is why it is called as saturated vapor line. The vapor is saturated on that line at various pressures. I hope it is very clear now. On this line, the liquid is saturated. No vapor particles are present. On this line, the vapor is saturated. No liquid particles are present on that line. So that is what is the meaning of the term saturation. Liquid is saturated on this line, vapor is saturated on the other line. By keeping these two in mind, let us look on to the first term, which is nothing but a dryness fraction. So now, the dry, in the sense, the quantity of vapor which is present in the given substance, which is nothing but the pure substance water. What is the quantity of vapor which is present in the given substance? That is what is dryness. In other words, this dryness is also called as the quality of the steam. They will also express this by quality of steam. Even that can also be termed as the dryness fraction. So now how can we define the dryness fraction? Dryness fraction is nothing but mass of steam to the mass of mixture. So now one thing has to come into your mind. The ratio, the definition says the dryness fraction is defined as the ratio of mass of steam to the mass of mixture. In the sense, I am dealing with the mixture what it is given to me. In the sense, this dryness fraction will hold the value only in the region wherein the mixture of liquid and vapor exists. We have very clearly understood from the previous phase diagrams. Left to this line is a liquid phase. Right to this line will be the vapor phase. Within these two lines, we will be having the mixture L plus V, which is nothing but liquid plus vapor. That is why this region is considered as the mixture region. And this is completely liquid, this is completely vapor. So now dryness fraction and wetness fraction plays a role or have the meaning only in this region. Then only we can define the value of dryness fraction, how dry the steam is. How dry in the sense, what is the quantity of steam present in the given mixture. On this line, it is very clear the liquid is saturated. On this line, it is very clear the vapor is saturated. Then mixture exists in between these two lines. What are the terms I am trying to define? Dryness fraction and wetness fraction. These two will have the meaning, clear meaning in the mixture zone. Within this dome region, we will have the meaning for dryness fraction and wetness fraction. Now try to understand this. Dryness fraction is nothing but mass of the steam to the mass of the mixture. What is the quantity of mixture which is given to us? In that quantity, what is the quantity of steam, dry steam present in it? That is what is dryness fraction. If I try to write that in notations, x is equal to, what do you mean by x here? It is nothing but quality of steam or the notation for dryness fraction. So x is equal to mass of steam. I will consider steam as gas, so I will write it as mg divided by mass of mixture, which is nothing but mf plus mg. Mg, mass of the gas, divided by mass of the fluid plus mass of the gas. Fluid plus gas is nothing but mixture. What this is going to say me now? The mass of the mixture is huge. We are very clear. Mixture in the sense the mixture consists of both liquid and vapor. In this mixture, what is the quantity of vapor only? That is what is there in the numerator. Overall mass of the mixture is in the denominator. So that is what is mass of steam divided by mass of mixture. So this is usually expressed in terms of percentage. Quality is in terms of percentage. If I say the quality of the steam is 60%, what do you mean by that 60%? The steam, I mean the given mixture is having 60% dry steam. In the sense 0.6 out of 100%, 60% of the steam is dry, remaining 40% is wet. In the sense 40% of liquid is present and 60% of vapor is present. That is what is the meaning of that example. Now it is very clear, easy to define the other term, wetness fraction. Wetness fraction in the sense, in the given mixture, what is the quantity of liquid which is present? How wet the steam is. This will also be defined within this dome. The wetness, I mean the liquid can exist in the mixture region and in the liquid region. It cannot be existing beyond this line. On this line, entire substance is vapor. Not even a single particle is liquid. That is why it is called a saturated vapor line. Beyond this, it is a superheated vapor. Then liquid exists only in mixture and in the liquid region, right? So now, how can I define the wetness fraction? Wetness fraction is nothing but mass of the fluid to the mass of the mixture. If you want to write it, please write it down. Mass of fluid to mass of mixture. So fluid is denoted by F, mass of the fluid divided by mass of fluid plus gas, which is nothing but mixture. In the given mixture, what is the quantity of liquid present? How wet the steam is? That is why it is called as wetness fraction. So now it is very clear. If the steam is of 60% dry, that means 0.6 is nothing but the dryness fraction and remaining 0.4 is nothing but the wetness fraction. If the given steam is 60% wet, in the sense 0.6 is nothing but the liquid, remaining 0.4 is nothing but vapor. So this is how we need to understand the dryness fraction and the wetness fraction. We need to be very careful on this statement what they used to mention. So dryness is towards the vapor and wetness is towards the liquid. So that is what is the distinguish between those two terms. By keeping these two in mind, we have to look for the next phase diagram, which is a very important one. By keeping this in the mind, we can have more variables, or we can find the values of more variables in the future sessions. I mean, while solving the problems, it will be very easy for us to go through the problems by keeping this phase diagram in mind. It is going to help us a lot in the future. That phase diagram is nothing but HS diagram. Please concentrate on the terms. I have written small h and I have written small s. We have discussed this in the first law of thermodynamics itself, all the intensive properties which are independent of mass are written with respect to, are written in small letters. All the extensive properties which are dependent on mass are written in capital letters. So now, independent of mass in the sense capital H and capital S are the extensive, small h and small s are the intensive. In the sense I am talking with respect to unit mass. Here H enthalpy, S specific entropy and H is specific enthalpy. What is the unit of enthalpy? H kilojoules, and this is independent of mass. I have divided the enthalpy by the mass in the sense per kg. Whenever you are talking with respect to per kg, the quantity or the property which you are trying to measure is independent of mass, kilojoules per kg. Per kg of the substance, this is what is the amount of enthalpy. Here also S is nothing but kilojoules per kg Kelvin. We know S is nothing but entropy. We have discussed this in the earlier stages. Kilojoules per Kelvin, delta Q divided by T. Per mass kg, so kilojoules per kg Kelvin. This is a chart of kilojoules per kg versus kilojoules per kg Kelvin, H versus S. So now the chart includes many lines. Let us try to understand the chart now. I have written the various lines with the various colors. Let us try to understand the saturated lines first. I have written those saturated lines with the blue color, dark blue color. This line is nothing but the saturated liquid line with respect to vaporization, and this line is nothing but the saturated vapor line with respect to condensation. Saturated liquid line with respect to vaporization, saturated vapor line with respect to condensation. The meeting point of those two lines is nothing but the critical point at which it is very difficult to distinguish between two phases of the substance. So now, if you look onto the number of lines which are passing through or which are drawn through this, I have written a dashed line inside the dome, if you can clearly observe. These dashed lines are nothing but the dryness fraction lines. I have written them as say x1, x2, x3, x4. What you mean by x? X is nothing but dryness fraction. Dryness fraction and wetness fraction will have the meaning within the dome. So that is why those dryness fraction lines are within the dome. So on this line the substance is completely a liquid. What is the dryness fraction? How dry? What is the quantity of vapor present on this line? No vapors are present on that line because entire substance is liquid. Because of that, the value of x is 0. X is 0 in the sense the quantity of steam on this line is 0. If you substitute the quantity mass of gas on that line, mass of gas is 0, 0 divided by anything is 0, that is why x is equal to 0. This is the x is equal to 0 line. So x is equal to 0 in the sense which is nothing but saturated liquid line. In the same fashion, on this line x is equal to 1. What do you mean by x is equal to 1? What is the mass of the vapor on that line? The entire substance is vapor on this line because it is a saturated vapor line. Entire substance is vapor in the sense it is completely a vapor particle. No liquid particles are present on that line. In the sense the entire thing, mass of the gas itself is 100%. So there is no meaning to the mf, the quantity of mf. No liquid particles are present in the sense mf is 0. mg divided by mg becomes 1. That is why the dryness fraction on this line is 1. So x is equal to 1 means this is saturated vapor line on which no liquid particles are present. So now you can easily define x1, x2, x3, x4. These are nothing but the dryness fraction lines. x1, x2, x3, x4. What do you mean by x1 is equal to 0.1? This is very nearer to 0. x1 is equal to 0.1 in the sense the quantity of steam present over here is 10%. Steam is 10% dry. Steam is 20% dry. the mixture, I mean wet steam. Wet steam is 85% dry, wet steam is 90% dry, wet steam, this is not a wet steam, 100% steam is present, this is a dry saturation line. On this line x is equal to 0, the dryness fraction is 0, no particle is steam over there. So, x1, x2, x3, x4 are dryness fraction lines. Make sure these dryness fraction lines exists within the dome region. Next thing is P1, P2, P3, P4. I have written P1, P2, P3, P4 by green lines. If you can look on over here, P1, P2, P3 and P4. In the previous two phase diagrams, we have seen on the PV we have a isobar as a constant, I mean as a horizontal line, and on the TS isobar line was a little bit curvy. On the TS it will be little bit curvy. On this HS diagram, the isobar, which is nothing but constant pressure lines, goes in this fashion. All this P1, P2, P3, P4, what I have written with the green color are constant pressure lines. So, these are constant pressure lines. Let me write with the same color. So, P1, P2, P3, P4 are constant pressure lines. Constant pressure lines are also termed as isobars. Now, where those isobars are existing, if you clearly look onto the lines I have written, the isobar line is existing within the dome, in the sense liquid plus vapor region, and even at the vapor region. That means isobar lines are projected from the wet steam region towards vapor region. In both the regions, these lines are present. That means liquid plus vapor regions also consisting of isobar along with vapor region. In both the regions, those lines are present. That needs to be understood. Wet region, superheated region, in both regions we will have constant pressure lines. That is what is with respect to constant pressure line. Next, if you look on to the next lines with the pink color, small v I have written, V1, V2, V3, V4. Please search for those lines. Those lines are here, V1, V2, V3, V4. Make sure I have written them with small letters. Small letters in the sense those are the specific volume lines, V1, V2, V3, V4. Make sure no lines are parallel to each other over here. No lines are parallel. So, now this V1, V2, V3, V4 lines are existing in wet region as well as in the superheated region. In both the regions, those lines may exist. So, these are constant specific volume lines. So, these are going to exist in liquid plus vapor along with vapor region. In both the regions, these lines are going to exist. Next, if you look onto the dryness fraction lines, dryness fraction and wetness fraction will have the meaning only inside the dome. That means dryness fraction line exists only in liquid plus vapor region, that is nothing but mixture region. So, dryness fraction lines will exist only in the wet region, I mean in the mixture region. Next lines are T1, T2, T3, T4. I have written small t, you can also write the capital T also. That represents the constant temperature lines. So, these are constant temperature lines. Isothermals, if you want to say those, these are nothing but isotherms. Those are nothing but the constant temperature lines. If you look onto the existence of constant temperature lines, T1, T2, T3 and T4. On the HS, constant temperature lines exists only in vapor region, not in the mixture region. So, these are existing only in vapor region, not in liquid plus vapor region. So, those are nothing but the constant temperature lines. So, now what we can understand from this is a typical phase diagram for the water in which various number of lines are present such as constant pressure lines, isobars, constant specific volume lines, we can call them as isocores, dryness fraction lines, constant temperatures which are nothing but isotherms, and the saturated liquid line as well as saturated vapor line. The beauty of this HS diagram is if it is possible for us to drop a point inside the chart. That means what? If it is possible for you to drop any point inside a chart, say for example, if I can drop a point over here, with the help of this point, I can find various number of properties of the given mixture or various number of properties of that of the given pure substance. In order to put a point or mark a point inside the HS curve, we need minimum of 2 properties out of these things. Either it may be the pressure, volume, temperature, dryness fraction, or enthalpy or entropy. Let me list those things so that we will clearly understand the things. Whatever we have here is constant pressure, constant temperature, specific volume, enthalpy, specific entropy. Along with that, we have dryness fraction X. So now, out of these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of this 6 properties, we need minimum of 2 properties to put a point inside the curve. Either it may be the pressure, temperature, pressure, volume, pressure, enthalpy, pressure, entropy, or pressure, dryness fraction. If you put a point inside the curve, then you can find remaining properties very easily. That is what is the beauty of HS. That is what I was saying, that this is a chart one should have in the mind to solve the problems related to the pure substance. So now, say for example, I have put a point over here. Because of this point, I can easily say the dryness fraction is 0.9. I can easily drop the vertical and I can say its specific entropy. Because of this point, if I drop the horizontal, I can easily say its specific enthalpy. And because of this constant pressure lines P2, P3, I can say the pressure of this particular state of the steam. And because of the specific volume lines, I can say what is the specific volume of the mixture. Because of the pressures, if I look on to the saturation temperature, I can easily say saturation temperature also. And this point is not existing in the superheated region, and this is existing in the mixture region. That can also be easily said. So that is what is the beauty of HS. And this work, I mean all this work has been done by the scientist for the pure substance, which is nothing but water, by Mollier. The scientist name is Mollier. He was the one who has worked on HS for water, and he draw this curve till the critical pressure from the very base. From the base till critical pressure, he has done the repeated experiments, and then he has given us the beautiful curve by which we can look onto various properties by putting a point inside the curve. So that is what is the beauty of HS by the scientist Mollier, and hence this diagram is also called as Mollier diagram. HS phase diagram, or else it can also be considered as Mollier diagram. Make sure Mollier diagram is the one which talks about the phase change on HS plane for the water, not for any other substance, any other pure substance. Mollier diagram, in the sense, it is the phase change diagram on HS plane for water only. He has worked on water only. So that is what is the contribution of Mollier towards the pure substances. So these are the number of phase diagrams we have with respect to the pure substance. We have looked on to PV, we have looked on to TS, and we have looked on to HS. Among those things, we will be looking on to either TS or HS in order to solve the problems. these two phase diagrams will give us the more values or more convenient phase diagrams in order to solve the problems. So, while solving the problems, I will be looking on to either TS diagram or HS diagram in order to find the various properties of given pure substance. So, this is what is related to Mollier diagram. Okay, now let us look on to the next aspect, which are nothing but the measurement of dryness fraction of the given pure substance, or we can say dryness fraction of the given wet steam. So, now I will be trying to look on to how to measure the dryness fraction of given wet steam. Before looking on to the various types we have, let us look on to few of the notations with which we will be expressing the various aspects. Now, we have seen various phase diagrams. In almost all the phase diagrams, we have two saturated lines. One is a saturated liquid line, another one is a saturated vapor line. Left to this line is liquid phase, right to this line is vapor phase. In between these two lines is liquid plus vapor phase. On this line it is x is equal to 0, on this line it is x is equal to 1. What we have understood from this is, on this line it is completely a liquid, on this line it is completely a vapor. Between those two lines we will have a mixture. So, now whatever the thing which exists on this line or to the left of this line, that will be denoted with F. F stands for fluid. Next thing is, whatever the substance which is existing on this line and towards the right of that line will be notated with G. G stands for gas. Next thing is, whatever the thing which exists in between these two will be expressed as Fg. I mean, on this it is F, on this it is G. In between I will call it by Fg, along with inside the dome what exists? Inside the dome dryness fraction exists. Along with the help of X, I will take the notation as Fg. Say for example, various properties we have: specific volume, enthalpy, specific entropy. If I have to write the specific volume for a liquid region, I will write it as Vf. Enthalpy for liquid region, Hf. Specific entropy for liquid region, then F. If I have to write the same thing for vapor region, Vg. I mean vapor region in the sense on this line or beyond that line. Next, Hg. Next, Sg. If I have to write anything in between this, then I need to make use of Fg. If I want to write the specific volume at particular point inside the dome, say at this point I need to write specific volume, specific enthalpy, specific entropy, then it will be Vf plus x times of Vfg. Why it is so? Because inside the dome fluid also exists, along with that vapor also exists. Vapor is written with the help of dryness fraction and Vfg. If H has to be written, Hf plus x times of Hfg. If S has to be written, Sf plus x times of Sfg. Make sure this column is for liquid region and this column is for complete vapor region and this column is for mixture region. So, this is how we represent various properties on various regions inside the dome or away from the dome. By keeping this in mind, we are trying to look on to how to measure the quality of steam, measurement of quality of steam, or we can say measurement of the dryness fraction. The dryness fraction can be measured with the help of a device called calorimeter. Calorimeter is a substance, calorimeter is a device which is used to measure the amount of heat involved, amount of energy in the form of heat involved in a chemical reaction or in a thermodynamic process. Such a device is called as calorimeter, and with the help of calorimeter we will be finding the dryness fraction of the given mixture. We have various calorimeters in usage, such as bucket calorimeter. We have tank type of calorimeter also. One more calorimeter is the tank type of calorimeter, throttling calorimeter, separating and throttling calorimeter, and electrical calorimeter, and many other calorimeters are there in use in order to measure the dryness fraction or quality of steam. Out of various calorimeters, we have throttling calorimeter and separating and throttling calorimeter in our syllabus. So, I will be looking on two devices which are used to measure the quality of steam or dryness fraction of steam, which are nothing but throttling calorimeter along with that throttling and separating calorimeter or separating and throttling calorimeter. Since these two are mentioned in our syllabus, we will be going through these two. So, now we are looking on measurement of quality of steam. Quality of steam is nothing but dryness fraction, quality of steam. So, this is what is my aim now. I need to measure the amount of dryness present in the steam. What kind of steam I need to take? I need to take mixture only. I need to take wet steam only in order to measure the amount of dryness which is present in the given mixture. So, now I am dealing with the very first one, which is nothing but throttling calorimeter. The heading to this diagram what I have written already is nothing but throttling calorimeter. Throttling calorimeter. So, in this session, let us try to understand the working principle of a throttling calorimeter, and then we can look on to how to measure the quantity of dryness fraction. I mean the quality or the dryness fraction from the throttling calorimeter. Make sure here calorimeter in the sense a device which is used to measure the amount of heat involved in a chemical process or a chemical reaction. Now, this is the experimental setup. It consists of, this is a place from where we are extracting the steam. This is the steam generating place. We can say it as a boiler also. Boiler or steam generator we can call. Next, pressure gauge for the measurement of pressure. Thermometer, this is the thermometer for the measurement of temperature. This entire device is calorimeter, which is used to extract the amount of heat involved in the process. Inside that calorimeter we have one more thermometer, and then we have water manometer. So, these are the various devices which are present in the throttling calorimeter experiment. So, now let us try to understand what is the meaning of throttle. We have heard the word throttle in many situations. Throttle in the sense, throttle in the sense control, throttling in the sense controlling. We are trying to control the quantity of, we are trying to control the process by which we can measure the quality of the steam. How we are going to control? We will look on to that now. Here we have a sampling tube. This sampling tube is going to extract the steam from the boiler whose dryness fraction has to be measured. Make sure the quantity of steam which is flowing through the sampling tube should be a wet steam. The kind of steam which is flowing through the sampling tube should be a wet steam. It should not be a superheated steam, right? Because we are trying to measure the dryness fraction. Dryness fraction plays a role inside the dome only. So, wet steam has been extracted from the boiler which is passing through the sampling tube. The steam, wet steam which is flowing through the sampling tube, whose pressure will be measured with the help of the pressure gauge and whose temperature will be measured with the help of the thermometer which is attached in the passage, to the passage itself. So, before throttling the wet steam's pressure and temperature has been measured. So, before throttling, the pressure and temperatures are P1 and T1. So, P1 and T1 are the pressure and temperatures before throttling. Before throttling, we are very aware of pressure and temperature. Next thing is this will be passed through the throttle. Throttling, in the sense we are controlling, we are reducing the pressure of the steam. In the throttling phenomenon, the pressure of the steam will be reduced, but we need to make sure that the amount of energy possessed by the steam will not be altered. I mean, energy conservation should be there, but we are reducing the pressure through throttle. That is what is the throttling. So, upon throttle, again we need to measure the pressure and temperature. Let us look how to measure pressure and temperature after throttling. Once the steam is subjected to the throttle, its pressure gets reduces. What happens to the steam? We will look on to the later stages. So, now the steam enters into the calorimeter. This is the device which is used to measure the amount of heat transfer, amount of energy transfer that is happening inside the mixture, or we can say inside the chemical reaction. So, this calorimeter consists of two chambers, inner chamber and outer chamber. This steam which is throttled will enter into the inner chamber first. Inside the inner chamber, we have an arrangement wherein a thermometer is immersed. So, in this arrangement, one of the fluid is present over here. Once the steam enters into this inner chamber, this steam's temperature will be absorbed by this fluid, and this fluid temperature will be absorbed by the liquid which is present inside the thermometer. Thereby, we can measure the temperature of the steam after throttling with the help of this device, and that temperature is denoted as T2. Next thing is, this steam will be moving on to the outer chamber of the calorimeter, and then it will be exhausted to the required place. This is how the temperature of the throttled steam will be measured. Next thing is, its pressure has to be again measured. In how to measure the pressure, this steam will be passed through the manometer. Inside the manometer, we have liquid which is nothing but the water. This outcoming steam will impose certain amount of pressure on the column of the manometer. Then we can get the height difference due to the application of the pressure by the steam onto the water column. So, this variation in the height of the water column can be noted down. Thereby, pressure of the throttled steam can be extracted. We are very clear with the equation, it seems, from the fluid mechanics. P is nothing but rho g h. With the help of that equation, we are going to measure the pressure of the throttled steam. So, now temperature and pressure of the throttled steam can be easily measured, and they are notated as P2 and T2. So, this is after throttling. So, now in the process, what we have done is, we have extracted the steam, that too wet steam, from the boiler, and it is passing through the sampling tube. Its pressure and temperature before throttling has been measured with the help of pressure gauge and thermometer, and it is subjected to throttling, wherein pressure reduction happens, but make sure energy conservation is happening over there, no energy wastage is happening over there. Then throttled steam's temperature and pressure are measured with the help of the thermometer and the water manometer. Then the steam will be left to the next procedure, because here we are trying to look on to extraction of the dryness fraction present in the steam. Then the steam will be sent towards the required processes for which it is meant to be. So, this is how the throttling calorimeter experiment is, and this is how we are going to conduct the experiment of throttling calorimeter. So, now what is our aim? In this steam, it is a wet steam. What I have written over here is a wet steam. Wet steam in the sense, we have a dryness fraction, X is existing. Steam is not 100% dry. The value of X is not equal to 1. The value of X is less than 1. What is that? The dryness of the steam that needs to be measured. So by measuring the pressure and temperature before throttling and after throttling, we will be extracting the value of x. So how we are going to extract the value of x? With the help of the equations. So once I write the equations, you will come to know how this x has been extracted. Make sure 5 things are to be very clear in our mind. We have measured pressure and temperature before throttling. Throttling is the pressure reduction process. After throttling also, we have measured pressure and temperature. So 4 temperatures are with us along with the throttling phenomenon. So now upon throttling, what is the pressure reduction and how the temperature is going to vary and how the things are happening, that we will look in the next class. So this is what is for the today's session. We will meet in the next session. Namaste.